Possibly have stream up and working. Possibly. Monitoring that. Bruh. So classy. Yay, commercials. Alright. We're at least up and going. So I'm gonna get started. Because I got a fun mission in mind today. It might be the only thing I do today. I was playing my VR headset maybe a little too long today and lost track of time. Got up a little late for this, but that's alright. A little late is only by like a couple minutes. At 7:02. Not bad. Not horrible. But I've got a crazy idea. I've got a crazy idea, and we're gonna just roll with it. So we got a station contract that we need to fulfill. For Kerbin. 9 Kerbals. Research lab, maintain stability for 10 seconds. Station in orbit. Has a docking port and can generate power. Okay. All those things are fine and dandy. What we're going to do is we're going to take our crew launch vehicle. We are going to attach a new science experiment to it. And this will be to dock with Jebediah Kerbin Station when we're done with this whole thing. That's going to be the only new one that I can really fit on this. So we'll launch that up unmanned. This will then be a reserve craft, and also a test craft for our new engine system we put on this. Now, we're going to have other segments to this. This already completes a whole bunch of the goals here. So now what we're going to do another one of those passenger crew modules, like we put up on Valentina Kerbin Station. And I really won't have any plans for it yet, I don't think. If I'm to be honest. But it will give us 4 crew capability, which will get us the last bit of the way to getting credit for our contract. So to wrap this up, we'll need another module. Mind you, I know how crazy this is. We're going to need a science module, science lab, to make this happen. box here. Alright. Still only 12 tons. That's amazing. It's actually flipping remarkable. So what we're gonna do... Some big old power packs maybe. Big old power packs. Now we're gonna want more. RCS pods in here as well. Yeah, words. More RCS pods. That's the words looking for there, Steve. Beautiful. Now we need a translunar stage. Some serious auto strut. All right. This definitely meets the minimum requirements of our station here. Coupler. Put a big old, not big I guess, put a payload thing there. Payload thinger, technical term. Alright. Alright, now we're talking about some serious payload. So let's cut that down a little bit. One of these. There we go. Alright, this is starting to look better. Alright, we open this. Put a hex core on there so we can actually control the darn thing from the bottom. Put a big old inline reaction wheel system. Throw in some batteries, bottom there. Throw in some RCS tanks. Meld those in a little bit so they actually fit. Alright. And this will need its own solar panels. Should be in power. I don't know why that took me a second to figure out. 2 of them will do. All right. Perfectly normal type vehicle, huh? Totally normal. Nothing crazy and ill-conceived here. No, sir. Everything here is totally normal. Make sure we have no crew. We're gonna launch this empty because this is crazy. say the least. Alright, but this is now the correct weight for our K-24. So we're going to throw a K-24 at the bottom there. This stretched upper stage that it has. Let's go ahead and throw a payload fairing on this. I'm just going to keep that lower section and the engine. So I don't have to pay for 2 engines in terms of tonnage. This is already going to make this incredibly heavy as it is. And this is an insanely long fairing. Something tells me this is a bad idea. And then the rest of me just says, keep going. Oh, this is such a monstrosity. It is saying we're over our height limit. Oh my god. Just barely though. Can I like be ridiculous and do this and make it okay? Yep. Yep, that works. Somehow that works. All right. Thought for sure we'd be over our tonnage, if anything. Even though I know we had a heavier payload last night with this. This is just... This wins points in my book for being the most awkward launch vehicle I've ever attempted to go for. And absurdly expensive. So maybe it's not a great idea, but you know, sometimes you just gotta go for it, man. So we're gonna have this extended version of the tank, of the upper stage tank here, to kind of act as our moon transfer vehicle. Because once we get this to orbit and we get our contract complete, we're going to take this lab to moon station. We're going to leave this crew module behind and unpowered, probably. Just maybe at some point we'll need it. It's kind of a shame. It's just going to sit there. And then this top bit is going to autopilot itself off to Jebediah Kerman Station. So that's going to undock itself. It's going to use its engines, and that's going to head off the Jeb Kerman Station. That'll probably separate like way on down the line. And that'll go boom, boom, boom. Okay. And this should be able to deorbit itself because it is powered. So I shouldn't have to worry about the usual retro fire rockets. This looks stupid. This looks like a very bad idea. We're gonna just name it as such, and yeah, launch it. I'm just kind of sighing while I'm saying it, but you know, keep drinking beer until it's a good idea. The payload's longer than the rocket. Oh, this is gonna just this is dumb. This is a bad idea. I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna say I know not to do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. We're gonna see what happens. "24 tons of space station, all in one. This is the worst of ideas. Okay, those are gone. Now we have to do the incredibly dangerous thing and nose over with this crazy payload. Oddly enough, fairly smooth. Could it be that this isn't as insane as I think it is? It's looking kind of like it. Shallow out a little bit. Okay. Alright. Looking good there. So we can now just kind of go totally horizontal. About to be able to blow the fairing. Yep. Blow the fairing. Alright, crazy monstrosity on its way to space. And we are accomplishing very little in the ways of achieving orbit here. So let's go for our high orbit and see if we can get away with this anyway. Just track prograde. Throw some solar panels up just to make me feel a little better. I'm just letting it do its thing right now. We're gonna end up in a higher orbit than we really need to, but you know, it's really not looking that bad right now. Surprisingly. I'm going to switch back to stability assist. I'm going to let us keep nosed up a little bit. Just because I see our apogee rapidly approaching. Actually nose us up just a little more and pitch us up to a more aggressive angle of attack. This poodle engine's not very strong. We are maintaining, so we'll be able to go just a little further down, a little less aggressive. A little less aggressive. Might be too much. Nope, that actually looks pretty decent. Go back to just aiming horizontal. rocking the poodle engine like champions. Actually pitched down a little bit. Which equates to a little bit of a radial change. Let us bring our periaps up faster. Alright, we're at least in space. It's not a totally circular orbit, but it's pretty close. We still got a decent amount of fuel left, which was the intent. So, we should close out the contract. Yep! Yes! So, we just closed out the contract for building a new station. And this is actually going to fulfill multiple missions for us, since we don't want this to actually be a station. Let's set as target. Got a little bit of ways to go before this unmanned craft will be in position to get to the station. But this top section... I want to say what I'm trying to decide what I want to do with this passenger cabin, though. I am basically just going to leave it behind. But, my idea is that eventually it'll be used for the nuclear transfer vehicle. Anyway. Oh. Well, that's a problem. I thought struts removed when you removed dock. Did they not? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's going on? It's treating us like this has no... What the heck just happened? Okay, we're gonna just switch to something else for a second, switch back, because it's calling that debris, even though I have a core on it. I have a probe core on it. And I have a power source. And an antenna. So that's the bad idea. Okay, so this didn't... What the fuck? Okay, control from here. Undock. Huh. Okay. Alright, we're gonna do something a little crazy. Because that's not something I've ever said before. That's one way to do it. Not the way I should have done it, but you know, it's a way. At least this mission's intact. Now, for this guy, I gotta figure out what to do with this. Oh, see, that one's separated. That one's separated the way it's supposed to. Okay, sure. Alright. So, I wasn't crazy. It is supposed to work that way. You bastards. Alright. Set as target. Control from here. We're gonna not leave this trash in space. Wrong way. There we go. There we go. Let's not leave trash in space. Thankfully, these craft have excessive monoprop. I have no idea why those struts refuse to let go. So I'm gonna try and do, I guess, is push this vehicle to its limit. Try and dock with this singular piece of dock. Yeah, I'm gonna try and redock with this, then lower our orbit, and then release it, and then re-increase our orbit. Oop. Well, I guess I don't have to worry about what to do with that crew module now. That is going to be trash. I'll probably send up something larger to go ahead and collect that and deorbit the rest of the structure. Just going to worry about this little piece for now since we're already here. And the little piece will probably be the biggest pain in the butt to get to later. Well, it definitely made this launch interesting. And we did basically get this whole thing for free because the amount of money we made from the station contract roughly equals what we paid to build the darn thing. Okay, so we now have this thing connected. So, back to staging mode. Let's go back to aim retrograde. So a quick retrograde burn. Should be enough. There we go. That'll now go back to Kerbin and burn up. And we're back to a reasonably safe orbit. Alright. That's one piece of debris we don't have to worry about, I guess. So this craft will eventually make it to, to the station. I was going to say I was supposed to take some atmospheric scans while this was in the atmosphere. And I forgot to do that. It's another goofer. So let's, one more time. Let's just get us to very, very slightly just scrape the atmosphere. So I can get that reading. So the whole point of that was to bring the science up to Jeb Kerman Station. I could have done that right when I blew the fairing, but I had forgotten to actually grab it. There we go, 68. That should just barely get us in the atmosphere. Probably lower our apogee, but it'll be fine. I could probably time warp to that. Of course, now everything's kind of all clustered together. This doesn't have a ton of monopropellant. So I don't think I'm gonna go for trying to get this with this. I don't think that's a good idea. I think I just am best off to get this off to Valentina Kerman Station, where it can function as our second lab, since we do definitely need that. Hopefully this actually has enough fuel to do what we want it to do. It's of course going to read completely impossible because I disabled the engine, but I'll re-enable that in a second. So we want this to be brought way down, way down, way down. So we mess with our timing. The most efficient burn. That seems probably pretty reasonable. Good. We should be able to make that on just the one stage. In fact, we should be able to do all the maneuvering we need to get this all the way to Valentina Kerman Station, so that part pans out. So really the only thing that kind of stunk was that that one port really messed us up. So let's warp to here. We're gonna get that atmospheric scan, just scraping the atmosphere. Hopefully, hopefully not bringing us out of orbit. Let's aim reasonably prograde. As long as I stay high enough up... Oh, orbit. That's why. As long as I stay high enough up, it shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't even damage our solar panels. I wish I could retract them, but I did not get... I got the non-retractable. And actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to aim radially. So as soon as we get in the atmosphere and get the scan, we can just kind of boost ourselves out of the atmosphere. And then this will finally be ready to head off to Jebediah Kerman Station, while the lab gets sent off to Valentina Kerman Station. And that middle section is now space junk, until we send something up to go and get rid of that. So not as horrible an idea as I thought that was going to be. That actually went smoothly up till trying to separate this craft, which we saw on the other one shouldn't have been an issue in the first place. almost be low enough to run this atmosphere scan. Right when we get below 70,000 meters, or 70 kilometers. Yep. There we go. Ooh, and it's biome specific. Well, I only have one of these, so I'm not going to be able to store it and then go back for more. So let's there we go. Enough radial burn that'll get us back on ascent. Just enough. Got a 2-second burn coming up. Thankfully, I also have excessive fuel and delta V in these craft as well. And this new engine configuration seems to work pretty well. Okay, we now have a safe apogee and perigee, so we are good. That stupid little piece of debris should be very shortly going into re-entry burn if it's not already burning up in the atmosphere. Yep, there it is. So the one pain in the ass docking port. That messed up our mission pretty good there. It is gonna burn up beautifully. That's going to make me watch this re-entry for some reason. Because I'm in atmosphere. That's annoying. Can I just leave it? I don't care about this thing. Alright. I guess we're watching it. I guess we're watching it smash into Kerbin. Now, one of the other things I could do is next time I have one of those returning craft, if I can somehow manage to get it to dock to the remaining port on that crew module, I might be able to RCS it into a re-entry burn. Although it'll probably be much easier just to launch a dedicated craft to go and dock with it and deorbit it. Oh, this is exciting. Really wish this lets you just say, okay, fine, this thing's dead, and then move on to something else. Like, we get it, it's just gonna blow up. All in all, it could have been worse. If I didn't have the engine configuration that way to melt our way off of that POS, and then that could have not been fun. But we got science from that contract, and we got money from the contract to cover the cost of the launcher. We basically, like I said, we basically broke even. We got 22 science out of it. And broke even. Which isn't really a problem. We have a lot of funds right now. And on top of that, we now have a science lab that is on its way to Valentina Kerman Station as soon as we're done this. And a backup lander carrying new science, or backup orbiter, carrying science to Jep Kerman Station. There's cacti. Alright, cool. Finally. Done with that. Tracking station. Let's go to the bad idea. Oh, I feel my spine just getting totally beat up. Okay. That's not the one we want. We want this one. Not even sure. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Alright, we got maneuver node coming up in 4 minutes, 20 seconds. We are going to flip ourselves around to get ready for this. We got a 52-second burn. It does seem like a lot of time. All the calculations are telling us we are fine. So at 26 seconds away from the maneuver node, we are going to start doing that burn. And the K-24 lived up to its name. It was definitely a 24-ton launch. I think that was actually a little more. Be able to get this new lab on the station. Should be pretty cool. Start doubling our science output from Valentina Kerman Station. We do actually have 4 scientists on there, so we'll be able to have another full lab. We got plenty of experiments around there. What the heck just... Oh. The other piece is casting a shadow there for a second. That was pretty cool. I know a lot of people are probably upset that the poodle changed. doesn't look like the way it has for the entire existence of the game. But I like this. It looks more realistic. And now this actually kind of fits as kind of like a Centaur upper stage, I guess. The engines on a Centaur. I know they're not like tuned properly to really be a Centaur, but they are vacuum efficient. It is a dual nozzle, so it kind of sort of is, kind of. Well, the Centaur's been flying in a single engine configuration from Atlas, single nozzle configuration. Yeah, wow, this is actually looking pretty good. Let's do some correction. I think we just overshot. I think we're fine then. We'll have our moon encounter. We will indeed. Alright. Science Lab is on its way to Valentina Kerman Station. At least parts of this mission are going right. Now we need to get this sucker to Jeb Kerman Station. Just probably gonna take a couple orbits. Could give it a tighter orbit next time we hit perigee. God only knows I got enough fuel in the thing. Shouldn't be a problem to do that. So I gotta figure out what to do with our Minmus relay network. Didn't figure that out last night. And I gotta remember we still have a another moon station core about to reach Minmus. Encounters in 4 hours. Periaps in 5 hours. So this thing will be coming up as well. That'll be pretty cool. All right. Now we're on a nice tight orbit. We should catch up to Jeb Kerman Station rather quickly. As I said, we just need to monitor our station way out, about to reach Minmus, and our new piece of moon station, our new lab for the Valentina Kerman Memorial Station. We're getting this craft with the new science experiment up to Jeb Kerman Station. So multiple transfers all going on at the same time. Of one low orbit to high orbit transfer. We have one Kerbin orbit to moon orbit transfer and one Kerbin orbit to Minmus orbit transfer. All at the same time. And like I said, or at least as I promised, we're getting really caught up to this station nice and quick now. We start looking at where our maneuver will have to be in order to rendezvous with it. Looks like it is on this orbit. Just bring just a little more, reach the right altitude, and then change our timing a little more. .4 looks pretty good. Actually, I need to go just slightly retrograde. Yeah, 0.5 looks a lot better, doesn't it? Alright, so we got our maneuver lined up. 7-second burn. Time warp to that maneuver, and we'll be rendezvousing with Jeb Kerman Station fairly shortly. That was, I think, my first planned melting of spaceship components in orbit. Or my first intentional, at least. I wouldn't say planned, maybe. But it was intentional. So between 3 and 4 seconds from our maneuver node, we're going to go full throttle and get us into a rendezvous burn up to Jebediah Kerman Station. A little bit of correction. Perfect. Yeah, fairly close. 0.6. So we'll be able to time warp into there. Yeah, I could have brought us just a little lower when we did that that burn. Did goof it up a little bit. So we are going to aim retrograde to target. We're at our closest point now, so we're full throttle. Kind of missed our opportunity, actually. That was not pointed in the right direction. Time warped a little aggressively. That's alright. We'll make it work. Still only 726 meters away from the station, so that's not all that bad. We're gonna make a pretty rapid approach. We are actually approaching pretty rapid. That's pretty good. At the station in no time. The next time we're doing a Kerman rescue, we can bring him back to the station and we can start collecting Kerman to ride back in this guy. This will be a whole spare 3-crew craft for a return flight, ready to go. Does test out our modified version of this craft. And I would say it's a big vote for yes, that we are good to go on it. The crew section, actually, the part that deorbits is unchanged, so we know that part is safe already. The new engine configuration definitely is working out for us. Some docking mode. So we're now station keeping. Get ourselves in the right orientation. Although we are going to be coming up on the opposite side here. So it's all relative. Just like a southern wedding. Alright. So we're going to do a circle around the station. It is cool that this atmospheric scanner is biome specific, even in the upper atmosphere. That's kind of cool. Okay. ourselves oriented properly again. It's time for the specific docking port we want to go to. Orient our solar panels so we're not going to bump into any other craft on the docking adapter. So you can see our old configuration over here for all these other craft with the 4 ant engines as opposed to the 2 cut-down sparks. Now that we have the cut-down spark engines, those are much better. Go. Using the nav ball now that I have the prograde marker. This is a pretty good idea where we need to aim. There we go. There's a successful dock. Turn off any auto strut just to make sure we don't have any problems with that. Alright, and then we can review this data. We can throw it onto the lab. Another 110 data. So that'll be boosting our science quite a ways. Pretty cool. We're almost up to a full docking ring there. I dig it. Now, still have other craft doing their thing. Still have a fuel tanker in low Kerbin orbit as well. Should be ready to go to Jebediah Station pretty soon. Which one of these comes up first? Now we've got 3.5 hours, so let's burn. This one's got roughly 3.5 till it's burn. Okay. It's convenient. See if I can focus in on Kerbin and see where that fuel tanker is. Alright, fuel tanker. That'll be this guy. Debdorp's craft is in atmosphere right now? The heck? Okay, didn't mean to do that, but I guess I'm riding this one out. At least it's a piece of space debris that'll be gone. Well, to entertain us, I'm going to point out one thing. You'll see when this starts getting into thicker parts of the atmosphere that this bottom section is going to auto-aim, even though everything's off, here it is, so that the craft is in the retrograde position. This way we'll be aiming forward. And that's the intrinsic value of the bell shape. That's why all those capsules, pretty much all capsules, I was going to say all those early capsules, but all of them really, have that distinctive bell or even a headlight shape, is because that makes them naturally heavier at the bottom. It moves the center of mass lower on the craft and basically forces it into a proper orientation. That was a really poor explanation, but that's the basics. I don't think this is going to deorbit this path this time around, but I might get back out of the atmosphere in time to check on my station pieces, because right now I'm kind of just letting them do their thing. I guess this particular one was on a decaying orbit. I'll have to watch it on another pass, because I noticed they kind of get treated like they're on rails if they're just going through the upper atmosphere. Now it should let me switch away. Okay, fuel tanker. Coming up on the station. Should be another couple rotations. Let's do that and watch both our transfer vehicles here. The moon transfer and the Minimus transfer. Nearly to where I want to consider doing a maneuver. Start seeing on the next orbit how it looks. Ooh. Almost gonna miss my window if I didn't do that. Alright. Alright. Alright, alright. Do we have an ascending... Ooh. We have an inclination change to make. I don't know how we ended up in the wrong inclination. Okay, now that puts us right inclination, roughly the right altitude. So the real question then is radial, which looks like we can get it pretty good actually. 0.1. Alright, it's going to be a 21-second burn though. So let's get this sucker ready for that one. Oh, no RCS please, thank you. Got a nice big reaction wheel on this, don't need RCS. We'll get this massive fuel tanker on its way to the station. That's pretty much all its fuel. It's looking pretty darn good. Is it excessive? Yes. Is it unnecessary? Yes. Are we doing it anyway? Yes. So that's just how I do things. So remember, this was a weight test for the K-24 that we just used. This was just to determine if it could actually launch a 24-ton payload. So 21-second burn, we're going to have to wait till we're about 11 or 12 seconds away. Probably stick with 12 seconds away. And when we're 12 seconds away from our maneuver, that's where we want to start burning. Try and be as accurate as possible to the maneuver node. Bit of correction. Really not too bad. We'll have our intersect at 0.4 meters instead. 0.4 kilometers rather, so 400 meters. It's really not too bad. Do some warping. Of course, our craft is about to hit its min-miss perigee, so we'll have to switch to that pretty soon. See if I can get this station keeping first. Probably shouldn't have warped so closely to it. Let's do retrograde to target. We'll do auto aim. We're going to pretty much just immediately start doing our burn. This is not a very powerful engine. As you can see, we're just kind of losing our window there. All right. For a rapid approach to the station. Soon we won't be needing to launch all these crazy fuel tanks. Once we unlock the nuclear engines, our next target will be unlocking mining operations. And we're going to try and make Minmus Station into a refueling point for us to go explore the outer planets. Or perhaps even the inner planets, who knows. Other planets is what I want. Everyone always goes for the outer planets, no one ever goes for the inner planets. Real life-wise, not other people playing Kerbal. Alright, so that's the dock we want, I think. Okay. Let's aim ourselves roughly where we want to go. Try and line ourselves up with that front port of the station. So far has functioned as our temporary fuel tank docking area. I think I did pick the wrong docking port. I did. It's the one we actually want. Okay, just get our center of mass roughly in front of this. And then we can start positioning ourselves for the final approach and docking. Okay. Some crazy controls there. Okay, I think that's fairly lined up in terms of orientation. Now we just need to get ourselves lined up for the actual docking. So we'll switch over to linear, RCS. We're going to trust our nav ball. Looking good. Looking good. Beautiful. No auto strut anywhere. Perfect. Alright, we got our nice oversized fuel tanker docked to the station. Should be helpful on our next return trip. Now we can switch back and start looking at our 2 transfer vehicles over here. First off, Menmus Focus. We want our buddy the, wherever it is, the station piece. Which I don't know why it does this. It, like, disappears. So we're gonna go back to Space Center. So I can set maneuvers for both of them. And then I'll actually be able to tell which which is going to need to be doing its capture burn first. So Mun Station Core. 1 hour, 47 minutes. One hour, 19 minutes. So we're gonna have to focus on this guy first. So we'll time warp this up to the capture. Get our capture burn done. Make sure we can do this all at that stage we have. We should be able to do this, no problem. Tons of Delta V left in this stage. Let's actually set this up for its rendezvous with Valentina Kerman Station. We might as well while we're at it. Nope, too far. We do want to bring ourselves down a little bit more. Down a little bit more. Down a lot more, actually. And we can work on timing again. The radial burn. Okay, looks like we had a good 5.4, it looks like, was the lowest we could get this. Hard to do from this far out. Controls are so sensitive. You could just like enter how much you want to go in this direction. There we go, 5.4. And the major difference is then going to be our inclination. So we'll then have an inclination adjustment. Go 2.1 degrees. Not so much that those flip completely. There we go. That'll give us a 0.3 intersect. So yeah, there we go. Might as well plan our rendezvous. Go the rest of the way up to this point. We want to get about 7 seconds away from our rendezvous. And that's when our rendezvous burn. And that's when we'll start it. It is also our capture burn. We're just doing a twofer. Might as well get both burns out of the way in one hit. We lost radio contact. Why did we lose radio contact? Oh, because I'm an idiot and I didn't put... Okay. I didn't put antenna on this, did I? I'm surprised even then that we only just lost radio contact, being that we are this close to so many networks. So... potentially we'll get our network back in time for this. I'm hopeful. One of our relay satellites might come into position. Because we were just in range. So I don't know. Seemed like a very odd time to just suddenly drop out. Would have been really smart for you to just put one like really cheap antenna on this though. That probably would have just totally solved that issue. Yep, we're coming up on our burn pretty soon here. And we are still not in range. Yep, we are missing our burn. Ah, boy. Okay. It's kind of annoying. What could be in range anytime soon? OneSat 2, possibly. We might be able to do a late capture burn. If we can just get into range. It's at 6. I guess we just finally got out of range of... well, Relay 2 is coming up to its closest point to us. So hopefully Relay 2 can help us out a little bit. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, just waiting for something to come into radio contact. We went full NASA. Never go full NASA. Wow, that is just terrible. Alright. Well, we're going to take a break from that one for a second. We're going to focus view on Minmus. How's our, how's our thing we can't focus on for some reason? totally silly thing to completely overlook is a single antenna. Any of the cheapest antenna would probably have done. So let's check it out from Moon Station Core. Alright, this one's ready to do its burn. And this one actually is in contact. So let's go ahead and do this capture burn real quick, and then let's switch back to the new science lab. This one's in great radio contact because of its gigantic antenna. Okay, we at least got our capture burn out of the way. We don't have a ton of fuel. I'm going to try and work on circularizing this a little bit. Alright, that should do. So there's one capture. Now, if this thing could just get into radio contact long enough, which I knew that was going to happen, I could have compensated and done an early burn as well. Early burn would have worked. Yep, we're about to fall out of range here of being able to do our capture burn. Yep, we can no longer do our capture burn. We do thankfully have a perigee that is above urban surface. It is absolutely amazing to me that we managed to fall out of... Oh, there we go. Radio contact. Okay. Let's see what we can do for a quick maneuver. Let's get rid of this thing. Don't need that anymore. Let's take this. Go for just a bastardly... How is that not an encounter? "20-second burn. Waste 381 meters a second. And if we screw it up, we're in an insane orbit." Let's see if we can make that a little cheaper. Actually, making it more expensive. Making it more expensive in terms of delta V, not cheaper. So let's go down this way. More prograde. Yeah. More prograde. Less of this. More prograde. Less of this. Prograde. Less of this. Prograde. Less of that. Just playing this game a bunch. Okay, that should do. Turn it into an 18-second burn. Hopefully our communication holds long enough for us to do this. Do our capture burn, and then we don't have to worry about it. Then we can just wait for whatever long periods we need to wait to be in radio contact. If we get ourselves low enough in the contact, we'll get into the MUN network. Once we're in the MUN network, we're basically good to go. So let's ride this out. Hopefully we stay in radio contact. 9 seconds away from this insane maneuver. I've never attempted to do this before. Secondary transmooner burn. It's beginning to look like the bad idea was a bad idea. Just judging on all the crazy crap we're doing. Okay, maneuver's dead. We have a rendezvous again. Or an encounter again, I should say, with the moon. It is several hours away, which does concern me somewhat because whatever is currently giving us radio contact might no longer be giving us radio contact by the time we want to do a maneuver. So the second that we are in a moon sphere of influence, we are going to attempt a capture burn. Perigy's actually coming up fairly quick, and the Kerbal Space Center is kind of just coming into view, so we might be okay here. Try and get us into a good position now this time. Go for the secondary rendezvous point. Does get us much closer. problem now is going to be the inclination, which we can hopefully be in radio contact to do. So let's see. We might just pull victory from the jaws of not putting a radio antenna on our craft. Yeah, looking pretty good. About 3 seconds away, we'll start our burn. A little bit of correction. No big deal there. Okay. Now we need to fix our descending node. Puts us at 0.0. So intersect at 0.2. That is what we want. That is the thing that we want right there. And it is an incredibly short burn. The problem is it's in 4 hours, and I don't know if we'll be in radio contact. So we're probably going to see this drop off as Kerbin spins around and the KSC falls out of view. And it is going to probably be out of view, yep, for when we want to do the burn, which is very inconvenient. We do have some very close satellites, it looks like, but looks like that's not going to work for us. So where's Munsat 4 can't help us out a little bit. Wait for us to get back into radio contact again. See what we can do. We're not going to be able to do that maneuver like we wanted. We might still be able to put ourselves into an orbit and then correct from there. Just all depends on when we get radio contact. Radio contact, okay. We're getting radio contact, looks like, from what exactly? From the Kerbin Space Center. Which means we are probably about to lose it again. That's a problem. Can I do anything to adjust this inclination and make this work in our favor? I can get it semi-close. It's gonna have to hope our radio contact holds. Even though we're about to go into the moon's shadow, from, relatively speaking, from Kerbin. Which means we're probably not going to be able to do the burn I want to do. This whole forgetting an antenna thing is pretty brutal. Not going to lie. Okay, we're waiting for us to go down to 3 seconds. Complete that burn. Okay, that is our inclination correction. A little late in the game. But does give us a pretty decent rendezvous. Now, the only problem is we're probably going to be outside of radio contact for our rendezvous. Yeah. That's what I expected. So, that's bad. So we're going to fly right by the station, basically. Rather helplessly. And when we come back around the moon, we'll get back into radio contact. Now I can do a retrograde burn. We're going to do a retrograde to orbit burn. We're going to put ourselves into a circular orbit for a start. Full throttle, please. Try that again. Okay, now we need to do some radial burn. And get this back into something sane. So we don't smash into the moon. Because that would be less than ideal. Lunar collisions are typically something you don't want to do with a space station. Just typically. You never know. Okay. And once we get to apogee, we're going to want to do a prograde burn. Again, just so we don't smash into the moon. Almost get a decent-ish rendezvous coming up as part of that. We missed our ascending node as well. We can possibly get to our descending node and do the correction there. There is a slight hope that we can make that one. The problem is going to be this maneuver here. So let's just keep messing around. Let's keep trying this. We kind of have to keep playing with it and seeing when we're going to be in radio contact. And timing things out accordingly to that. However, we're at least now in a position where we can afford delays. We are now no longer so bound by the timing of each maneuver. The worst of that is over. inclination burn. You have a pretty good rendezvous. Don't know if we're going to be able to do anything about it, but it's there. I think we're going to fall back into radio blackout by the time we go to do that maneuver. I could be wrong. I might be wrong. Ooh. Nope. Radio blackout. Just right before. Just like seconds away. And we get radio blackout. That's infuriating. So as we come back around... Okay, we're back in radio contact. It's going to get in front of us now. Oop, don't want to go that far. Okay. What I can do, I can give us a tighter orbit and catch back up to the station over a couple revolutions. That'd probably be the most fuel-efficient way to do that. Hopefully we won't be in blackout for this maneuver. That has been the theme. Okay, so 2 seconds away is where we want to do this burn. Burn lasts for 2 seconds, and good. A little bit of correction if we can make it before radio blackout here. Okay. I'm about to go into radio blackout again. Yep. But now we should be catching up to the station. Too much. We're gonna overtake it, so we need to now aim prograde. We don't want to overtake the station, we want to line up to it. So let's just do a little bit. Now this time we might actually be in radio communication for our rendezvous, I hope. Two relatively good intersects, 1.5 and 0.3. So anywhere in that range would be actually probably pretty good for us to do our final burn and station keep off the station. Yeah, I'm going to be in radio blackout again. We're getting that traditional lag we get from being so close to the station. We are back in contact, though, so let's retrograde the station now, while we're actually fairly close. Okay. Should be in radio contact for a little while now. I hope. I still have RCS on this thing. I am kind of just eating away the last remnants of fuel. In theory, they should have been able to bring over some fuel for the station. No, not 50 times work. That is another thing. I probably should have put like some kind of relay on the station instead of just regular antennas. As long as we stay in radio contact for the moment, which is looking fairly good. We might be okay here. So let's get this down to a station keeping again. Okay. Over to the station. Let's gangway. Let's make some room for this thing. Track some solar panels from the top. Retract these two adapter solar panels. Better yet, let's see if we can rotate the station a little bit. I think if I do it carefully, will not be much of a problem. A little bit of wobble. But doesn't look like anything unhealthy. Doesn't look like anything that'll hurt the station. Alright, so we want that port right there. One that we're already kind of aiming at. I want to hopefully do this quickly and make this work and not cause a collision that's horrible. So let's see. Back to linear. Back to RCS. Carefully now. Don't want to approach too fast, even though I do want to try and do this whole maneuver quickly. Simply because if everything goes to shit, I don't want to ram the station at a dangerous speed. So we're actually heading for the correct port now. If I accidentally hit the station at this speed, we won't do any significant damage. The other thing I could probably do at this point is I probably could send a Kerman over, but that won't really help because I don't have any control points on there. That's true. So scratch that idea. Actually, let's rotate this so the ladders are facing down the length of the station. That should do. A little bit of a bump, but we made it. Okay. Woo! We made it. Looks like we made it. Oh, that's weird. Why are these on alternating? Lights on. Lights on. All right. That was only totally crazy. Finally pulled it off. So I think what I want to do at this point, kind of get a feel for how much fuel I really have on this thing. I think probably what it has right now is going to be enough to deorbit. Possibly more than enough to deorbit. Yeah, 629 seconds of delta V. That's way more than... Okay. It's a good sized transfer tank I can go and dump this on. Okay, that one's full. So let's take that. Dump that tank in here. And then I can precisely measure out that amount to this tank. Watch our delta V plummet on our tanker itself. Yeah, it's gonna end up with about 240 meters a second of delta V. That actually should be enough to deorbit the darn thing. So then the monoprop. Dump the monoprop into any tanks we can find. Namely our reserve lander that we just used as an orbiter. Monoprop has actually been one thing that has not been in very short supply lately. I do tend to overdo it. But for this instance, not that bad a thing. And the last one, I'll try to leave myself just a little bit of monoprop. Just so I can back this off of the station safely. That should do just fine. Alright, are we in a good position? Yes, for radio contact. So let's go ahead and do this thing's disconnect and deorbit. Okay. Oh, and this has no RCS thrusters. Okay. That was probably something I shouldn't have overlooked. Wow, I'm doing really great today on this thing, aren't I? Well, the bad idea did prove to be a bad idea. So, I mean, that looks mostly clear to do our deorbit burn. Aiming retrograde. Kind of lightly. Lightly now. Carefully now. At a good distance from the station. Okay. Deorbit away. Beautiful. Beautiful. It is going to deorbit. So, alright. So our totally bizarre station delivery did pan out. It did work. After all that madness. I am going to EVA Nedbo for a second. Give me the headlamps, buddy. The reason I'm going to do that, I'm going to have him go and grab the spare experiments from the first lab. Because we do have spare experiments that we were not able to bring over to the lab yet. He's going to bring them over to the new lab. And now we'll have, hopefully, 2 labs going at full strength. Alright, so now we can review this. Boom. 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 So there we go. We now have 410 data in there. Cambo, our other scientist, we can now transfer to the new lab. We can start research. So they'll be getting me another 5.5 science a day. And that means we can go ahead and start doing more landings and actually benefit from them. Carefully roll the craft a little bit. Yeah, Valentina Kerman Station's a little weird. But it's definitely better than the old Valentina Kerman station. By a long shot. And we've now got 2 science labs going. How can we complain about having 2 science labs? We can't. That's how. Oh, I just hit... Freaked me out. I didn't know what button I hit. I hit the RCS button. I heard jets going, and I started freaking out there for a second. Speaking of... Let's see. Shut down, shut down. Shut down. Shut down. Be responsible for a second. Don't know why I didn't do that before. I just felt like freaking myself out for no reason. There we go. Alright. As I was saying before I had a little panic attack, we have now 2 labs working at full capacity. Yeah, this solar panel kind of collides. We're going to retract that because it doesn't look nice. This one should be fine. This one should be fine. Yep, those 2 are good. That one is good. Whoa. Hello there. I activated an engine. I thought everything was off. That time that really was an engine. Well, our orbit isn't too screwed up. We'll just leave it as is. Alright. Woo! Let's see how much science I can transmit down. We can get 30 science transmitted down. Let's go ahead and do that. And go to the Jeb Kerman station, see how much science we can get transferred down from that. And now, next stream, we can start putting Kerman back on the moon, collecting new science, and loading up the second lab. Okay. They want me to test the Nerve Atomic Rocket Motor, which is actually one thing I want to unlock very shortly. What's going to do it at Duna, though? I got 4 years to do it. Pretty sure we can handle that. And a vector engine. We get 2 years to do this one. Suborbital trajectory to Mun. That shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to take both those contracts. Why not? We have a bunch of active contracts. Let's just have some fun with them. Do some ones that I think are going to be a challenge rather than the ones that I think are going to be easy. Make it entertaining. So, last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the Jeb Kerman station. Somewhere. There we go. Alright, let's see how much science we have to transmit down from the lab today. We didn't do as much time warp as we have been doing. But still, 22 science. Transmit science. This is the much more organized station. This here, the dock for the transfer vehicle. And we got our docking array for our crew capsules, crew quarters, science lab, external science bay, fuel tanks. It's all lovely here. This one makes a ton of sense. From here out is all fuel. Over there is all crew. Although my computer is now starting to struggle with Jebediah Kermit Station. Despite it being ridiculously overpowered for just about anything, Kerbal Space Program still manages to grind. But okay, 270 science is actually pretty good. We're on our way. We got 30 more science and we'll be able to unlock nuclear propulsion. We have the ability to use one engine anyway, or several engines actually, because we can use them for testing. So I might not actually do that right away and just keep this contract open and keep cheating and using these experimental engines, because I like to abuse the system. On the flip side, the other things we could be unlocking, new lander cans and cupolas and stuff, all like nice, but eh. Field science, we could start putting rovers down of significant size. Composites, eh. Larger engine plates and stuff like that. Large volume containment, we can start doing S3 size tanks. We do need to upgrade the research and development. And when we get 550 science, we can start mining. That might actually be the thing to do. Save up for that, use the nerve that we already have with that contract. I mean, I'm sure I can afford to do this. Yeah, almost 1.7 million. It's really not so bad. Now have the top-rated research development. Not too shabby. But yeah, we can probably save up for that. If I check the vehicle assembly building, I don't think there's any limit to how many of those things I can use in the name of the contract. I think I'm allowed to just keep using them until the contract is closed. It is an expensive engine, though. Rightfully so, but it is expensive. And the nice thing is we also have the Vector. That was for another contract. So yeah, we got some pretty cool engines in there. Vector's not very efficient, but it is fairly heavy, but it is very powerful. 936 thrust at sea level. And a high vector range. It's basically a space shuttle engine. So we might give space shuttles another go, since we have that unlocked for the moment, temporarily. Of course, we'll be looking at, you know, liquid fuel powered transfer vehicles here. Let's look at the Delta V. The Delta V on this is ridiculous. Do I have any, like, yep, I got a tri-stack. Could be interesting. I think these get hot, though, is the only thing. I don't remember. That's a little better. For crap's sake to do the antenna this time. Just put a better antenna on it. Oh, I don't need two of those. One. There we go. Monoprop. A fair amount of it. Okay, so this could be like a functional nuclear stage and actually do pretty good. I'm having a hard time believing that's all the Delta V I get out of it. Oh, you know why? It's because it's sea level. Blah. Vacuum. Yeah, there we go. 5,591 meters a second of Delta V. So insanely more than my current transfer vehicle. So yeah, this is what we want. How much does this weigh? Hey, look at that! 24 tons! Oh, evil laughter. This weighs 24 tons, which is makes this the perfect vehicle to go ahead and launch on top of our new K-24 24-ton launcher. Oh, sometimes I am an evil genius. Usually when I'm not thinking. Figure that out. Alright. Now the only question is, how are we going to launch this? I might launch it upside down. That might be a thing. But let's save it. Ooh. Vehicle. So yeah, that'll probably be what we launch tomorrow. We'll work on getting a a nuclear answer to our transfer vehicle needs. Probably we'll end up launching some other components and stuff to go on it. But for the moment, this can be used to transfer fuel at the very least. Those big fuel tanks. And we can use the regular transfer vehicle for the moment for crew until we get a chance to upgrade that. And that might just be a case of launching a new nacelle. I might do something totally different. I'm not sure. But for now, this will be kind of fun to watch. Alright. Ooh, I can do paint schemes. Look at that! I was about to, like, cut it, and I was going to ignore this beautiful paint scheme. Look at that. So important. So vital. I like that. I like that on that craft, actually. Well, alright, guys. It's been a crazy day. Probably shouldn't have launched the bad idea, knowing it was a bad idea. But, you know, sometimes these things happen. And I just go crazy and do mental things. So thanks everyone for watching who watched. If you want to catch more, you can catch us at youtube.com/JudahCalledYouBro down there at the bottom. That has all our previous streams, and hopefully I'll be editing some stuff coming up soon. We'll actually have some cut down watchable content, not just the dumps from all my streams. But of course, you can always catch us almost every night at 7. Probably won't be broadcasting tomorrow or Christmas for obvious reasons, and we'll be back after that. So, again, thank you guys, and good night.